Okay, welcome back. I have been on the absolute fuck around of trying to set up a Patreon. At first I just had my own website, and then you could get support through the actual hosting platform that I'm putting my podcast out from. I should probably explain this in case anyone else has thought about starting their own podcast one day. I use Buzzsprout. It's just a website where I upload the episode once and write the podcast information once, and then it distributes to all of the different streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple. Not YouTube. I have to do that separately. But I'm trying to figure out a way to monetize the podcasts, because my dream is to be able to live off my art one day. So I set up a Patreon. I looked at a Patreon, but Patreon was a fuck around because I couldn't use it as a shop. So it's really important to me because I'm still doing new clothing and I still have more ideas for clothes that I want to sell, and just other products as well. I want to publish a book of my quotes because I love quotes so much. So I decided to be a quotist. So, I need a shop, but if I do a Shopify shop, that's $60 a month just in fees, and I ain't making that back. So then I've came across this website called Ko-fi. It's Kofi, and that's cool because it's got a good vibe about it. And yeah, it's so if you go to the support me thing, you can click that, it'll take you there. Then you can just leave a donation, or you can subscribe if you want to. I have 3 different tiers because we are the aliens. So there's the green aliens, the gold aliens, and the luminescent aliens. So I think green alien is $3 a month. So with all of the subscriptions, you get access to a lot of hidden content. So for example, I have original episode 4, the file was a bit corrupt, so I didn't post it, and so that's in the subscriber content. If you want an extra episode that's a little bit damaged, you can listen to it there. Also gonna drop a rap album because why the fuck not, and that's gonna be subscriber only content. And yeah, I don't know why it's coffee though. I don't even like coffee, give me some of that English breakfast any day. I actually prefer herbal tea. I really like herbal tea. Sometimes I even have it with milk, with my herbal tea. I have to tell you, I try to eat pretty clean all of the time, but anytime there's an herbal tea, I need 3 sugars and some milk, and that is the yummest milky treat. I just can't keep that up. And that's enough. That'll get me through all the clean eating days. Just give me some of that herbal tea with some 3 sugar. But anyway, for the price of an herbal tea, you can support the show if you like. For $3 a month, you can access our subscriber-only content, and you can be a part of the cool community, and you can be a alien. So also want to say a massive thank you to everyone who actually rated the podcast. I think I've got 8 5-star reviews on Spotify, and then another 5 5-star reviews on Apple. One of them is mine, but still counts. But no, really, actually really appreciate that. That's actually so nice. Thank you. I think I have about 12 regular listeners right now, 12 to 14 regular listeners. And I just want to say that y'all are the real ones. And I'll remember you when I'm Australia's #1 podcaster. Okay, so today I want to talk about resentment. Resentment is something that I struggle with more than I'd like to admit. It kind of hurts my ego to admit how much I carry resentment, and I know it's bad, and I don't want to carry it. I know that I'm the one who gets punished by having resentment, that I'm the one who carries the pain, and just the thought of another person who's just really hurt me, the fact that the thought of them still has the ability to affect my emotional regulation, that just makes me even angrier. And I've thought a lot about resentment, and it is that it's always it's the people who've hurt me in my life that I resent. Not just that, I think very specifically, there's something about when a person disrespects you and gets away with it. There's just something about that is just hard to let go, forever. And I've thought about it a lot, and I've realized that actually my resentment is actually anger at myself, because I allowed them to treat me like that. And so when I viewed it through this lens, it wasn't about forgiving that other person. It's been about forgiving myself, for how was I so naive, or how was I so weak? How did I have such weak boundaries? But even understanding it like this, it still was difficult for me to let go of resentment, and still is. I'm still in this stage of trying to let go of it. But I realized there's something about being resentful that makes you feel so powerful. And I think it's because it makes you feel righteous. There's something about being righteous that creates this kind of hierarchy where I feel I resent the people who've put me down in my life or made me feel small. So me being righteous allows me to redistribute that hierarchy where I'm then above them, looking down on them. And it's interesting because I realize that I don't really ever feel like I look down on people. I never really think someone is above or beneath me. I try not to see people in terms of hierarchy, but more like unity. I want everyone to do well. I think I've always been like that because my parents are like that. And so I never look at someone and think oh, I'm better than them because of this, or I have this trait and they don't, or whatever. But I have realized that my way of creating a hierarchy with other people is I tend to like to have a moral high ground over other people. So someone might hurt me and I can go, yeah, well, I might be this, but at least I would never do that. That's disgusting that they would do that. I could never. And so I think about this kind of our social need to create hierarchy and this fight for hierarchy because I feel like we all kind of feel inferior in a way. Not everyone. I feel like insecurity is kind of being insecure about your place in the social hierarchy. I think that's why other people tear other people down and get jealous and shit because they're comparing themselves to this imaginary ladder that they're seeing. I actually think being autistic has given me a bit of gift of kind of standing out on the outskirts and just looking at it differently maybe. I don't know, but yeah, I have realized that there's definitely something in me that likes to look down on the people who've hurt me in a moral way. And so that's something that I'm working on right now because that's ego. And it's not good for me. I'm the one who is carrying that. And it's interesting because I'll look back, sometimes it's friends, people that I was really close to who I feel maybe wasn't there for me when the time needed, or not just that, but maybe looking back actually contributed to my poor mental health a bit, who weren't the greatest friends. And it's interesting as well because I feel like you would never allow anyone to treat you worse than how you treat yourself. And so if you love yourself, your self-respect goes up. And I've been on this self-love journey for years now. And I look back on things from years ago and I think there is no way I would let anybody treat me like that right now. Absolutely no way. And I cannot believe that I even allowed it. And sometimes I think what would I do if I ran into that person on the street? If I'm nice to them, then they've just got away with it. You know what I mean? But then, I'm trying to just be love. So that contradicts that. But then it's maybe this person was a bit worse to me. So my reaction to them can be colder and that's me trying to teach them or something like this. And just having my mind go to places like this. And then I was listening to something, I think Ram Dass said it in one of his books. But he said, you forgive people not because you care about what happened and what they did to you and because they deserve your forgiveness or because you even want to give yourself the gift of forgiveness. You forgive people because it feels so good to just not care and to just be love. And so your attitude towards forgiveness changes from just oh yes, I forgive you for what you've done for me. It's, oh, I'm so happy here. What are you talking about? Oh, that thing from ages ago? Oh yeah, sure, let it go, whatever. This feels too good. And so that something about that really resonated with me because I feel me kind of in my mind trying to figure out go through all these scenarios and almost scale how people have mistreated me and how I should treat them back. If I'm just good to everyone, then that's the answer. I don't have to sit here and think about how I would react when I run into someone on the street. The answer is love. One of my favorite quotes is, all wisdom comes back to love, love, love. That's just the answer. And so for me, it's just this is holding me back and stopping me from moving forward, on my journey. So now, from this perspective, it's made it easier for me to let go of resentment. So it's yeah, it feels good to let this go. And it feels good for me to just be in a state of love. And that's pulling me out of a state of love. And so it's not worth it. Whatever they did, whatever, they're forgiven. I've got to let it go so I can keep going. You know what I'm saying? So something that I want to start practicing is called metta meditation. So this is in Buddhism. So metta translates to loving friendliness. That's the closest translation. And what metta meditation is, it's wishing the best for you and others. So first you start with yourself. So some of the meditation might sound like this. I wish good health to myself. I wish that I am successful. I wish that I am happy. And then you move on to the people around you, your parents. I wish that my parents are happy. I wish that my parents are successful. Your friends, general society. And then you think about your enemies or the people who've hurt you. And you try to wish them happiness. And it's interesting because just by doing that meditation, it just like will trigger something in you, which it'll show you some kind of like resistance you have to that, which shows you where you have more work to do, which is cool. But also I just like it because it's just a good way to just, I don't know, for me it's an actual like proactive way to like work on resentment. And so I'm going to release another episode after this one because it's separate, and it's just going to be me reading a metta meditation from a book called Mindfulness in Plain English. And it's just a really great basic kind of short metta meditation so that like I can just put it on if I'm going for a walk or just walk around the backyard or something. I can put that on and then I have it in my ear, the meditation, or I can listen to it in bed or something like that. So if you want to listen to it, you're welcome to. I know there's something that just like I was listening to, by the way, if you haven't watched The Midnight Gospel on Netflix, that show is so good. It's so sad that they didn't like get a second season. So it's like Duncan Trussell, who's like one of my favorite people ever. He's got a podcast and they took clips from this podcast. And they made an animation. The guy who made Adventure Time made an animation to go with like some of this stuff from the podcast. It's quite similar. He's one of my biggest influences. So it's similar to the kind of the stuff that I talk about. But in one of his episodes, I think it's episode 3, they talk about forgiveness. And something that Duncan said really stuck with me always. And he said, like, the first time you think about forgiving someone who's really hurt you, you just like, absolute no fucking way in hell. After what they did to me, no fucking way. I just cannot do it. And so he and Trudy Goodman talk about how to overcome that feeling. But that's what I'm working on, and I think the thing that's helped me the most in working on that, the hardest ones to forgive, is that you kind of start to put yourself in their shoes and think like, fuck, maybe their upbringing, or if I had their, whole life story, maybe I would do the same thing and be just like them. Not to excuse it. There's absolutely no excuse for it. But I don't know, that kind of understanding can make it easier sometimes. And so meditation, I think, is good because you wish for these people things like peace and happiness and success and contentment. And if that feels wrong for you to wish these things for these people, then let me ask you, if they had all these things, would they really have done what they did to you?